Got some Bay Area folks here. Got San Francisco, Oakland. Lafayette. Got some East Bay folks. So yeah, we are excited to head up in the mountains. We have Robin Bliss-Wagner with us, and he is going to teach us some valuable wilderness skills today. So that is exciting.
A little harder.
You know, when you're out there in the dark, if you just let go, your other senses kick in. Your other senses kick in.
Stories, like you were asking, like, how do I engage my audience? Yeah. And it's like,
and that's where the mind comes in. Yeah. And starts to make up a story about something.
You said the magic word, because we tell stories to ourselves, whether we think we're doing it or not. Yeah, like a larger or more sublime aesthetic. And so those stories are easy, actually, because they tell themselves, it's like, look at this place. We're gonna head up there into the snow. You see that?
Yeah, that little white peak.
Frosty.
Like
yeah. And beyond.
And beyond.
Oh yeah. And then they put the Ashland Springs Hotel in the middle of town. That was the highest building between Portland and San Francisco when it was built. So it always was meant to attract urbanites and the more cosmopolitan types, right? In the middle of this wilderness and frontier. The Railroad Commission made it so that you can't carry passengers on such a steep grade anymore. And so Ashland slumped into a sort of economic depression. But one of the things that brought Ashland out of that economic slump was the Shakespeare Festival, right? You know what happened before that was the Chautauqua, you know? So the Chautauqua was like this.
Amanda was part of the Chautauqua Circus. My sister.
Are you saying?
I know, the original. Yeah.
Oh, really? But you did something that was like a revival of that? No kidding. It's so neat. So you must know all about the Chautauqua Dome that was once where the Elizabethan Theater is now, you know? Oh, check out some pictures, like just old pictures. It was the largest freestanding wooden dome in the world.
And where's that?
And it's right where the Elizabethan Theater is now. So if you go up there, go up to the campus of the Shakespeare Festival and check out, there's a concrete wall that goes around the whole Elizabethan Theater, and that was the foundation for this dome, so you can get an idea of just how big it was. Right? So Ashland always has this, you know, vibe of entertainment. On 4th of July in the 30s, they were gonna offer entertainment up there, and it was gonna be boxing, pugilism, right? And but then a fella named Agnes Boehmer came along. Agnes Boehmer, and he was a Shakespeare buff, and he was like, I'm gonna put on a Shakespeare play and we're gonna see how many tickets we sell for boxing and how many tickets we sell for Shakespeare. And that is gonna inform the future of this town.
Wow.
You know? He probably didn't think of it in such explicit terms, but the Shakespeare far outperformed the boxing. So that's why we don't have boxing up there. Instead we have Shakespeare and theater. So Turanian,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't even say Turanian because it's moon.
Well, yeah.
We were just talking about how the moon is part of the baby Earth. It just like blew apart, and the moon, and right? Isn't it why the moon is always facing the same direction? Because it's actually in geosynchronous orbit. Because it's actually part of the same thing. That's just like moving together.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's so cool to think of the
So
moon
big.
as part of the Earth.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that. We got a regular Shackleton over here. A regular Fridtjof Nansen. Beautiful.
I haven't even been here before, but look over, come close so you can see. This is like what would save your life up here if you needed to get a fire going quickly.
Oh, I
what do you see here?
Mold. It's rotting.
It's rotting inside. Look at this. This huge fir tree, super healthy, but the inner core is rotten. And look at on the edge, there's a little bits of sap, which is kind of like, have you ever heard of turpentine? That's flammable, kind of like gasoline. So that sap, if you light it with a match or a lighter, that will burn really well, even when everything's wet. And then inside the tree here, check this out. Look at that.
Is that nice and dry?
It's dry, relatively. It's a little wet. But what happens is if you strike a spark onto that with anything that can spark, it'll usually start to smolder. Let's see if we can get it to smolder in that rotten wood. One trick is you pull the rod away from the striker, and that way it doesn't risk.
Oh, you have more control.
And another form of tinder that's really, really good that you can find almost anywhere in the world is cattail. And cattail, the seed head that looks like the hot dog on the stick. It's not like a cat from your house. It's a plant. And the cattail fluff from that hot dog looking thing that sticks out of wetlands, that's very, very flammable. And it doesn't light flames so easily, but it keeps a little coal. So if you have that, it helps you get started. So you put that in the middle of your pine needle nest. You can catch a little ember in there.
How many days have you had to survive in life?
This is a ferro rod.
Mm-hmm.
Here, so maybe we'll put out a few options. We got a ferro rod. You've got, here's another ferro rod that's smaller.
You try.
And then just to show, does anyone have bad breath? I know we all brushed our teeth this morning, right? No, just kidding. That's flint and steel. So this is the real thing. So this is from a truck's leaf spring, and this is actually petrified wood from New Mexico. And this is char cloth. So this is, in the 1800s, this was a really common way. The char cloth is burned up t-shirt cotton. It's got to be 100% cotton, but you just put that in the tin, close it up, and stick it in the coals. Like if you have an old t-shirt that's ripped, you just cut it up, put it in, bake it in the coals for about 5 minutes, and you pull it out, and you don't want to open it, otherwise it'll turn to ash. So you leave it, and then when you open it, it's just char cloth. So
Wow.
that's when you strike a spark into that, that also preserves the coal really well. So it'd be neat to compare the different things. I'll put a tiny bit right there.
Ooh, put them in your pocket. Ooh, that's so exciting.
So this one's manufactured. You can't just find that out in the wild. But if it gets wet, it doesn't matter because it's just striking those sparks. Those are kind of popular these days with the sort of YouTube people that do survival skills because you kind of can just buy it, but it looks cool. But I feel
fireworks.
I feel like it's great to know all the methods, but I love just the idea of getting a fire started just by rubbing 2 sticks. I brought a few other ones. This is a hand drill kit. This is pretty difficult when it's snowing out and raining out. And I also brought a bow drill kit that we could use.
This is like naked and afraid.
Yeah, naked and afraid. You guys think you could do that? 21 days? You guys ever seen that show? No comments. No.
Now that bow drill, that's really something.
Yeah, I want
And that's what people, this is what Native Americans used from time immemorial. This was the, thousands of years solid technology right here. This machine.
Oh, we're doing that now.
So I brought a hand drill too. Maybe we'll try hand drill all together and see what we get.
I know this technique.
Ooh, that
Have
was
you tried it
almost.
before?
Not necessarily, but I know how it works.
Go ahead, Josh. Get it, Josh. Man.
So the first thing
Stay
is
with it.
you
Stay
have to
with
burn in you have to burn it in to get started. So this is the technique. You're spinning the stick by putting your fingertips to your palm. And you have to push down pretty hard. So once you have it burned in, then you can carve a notch. And see all this dust that's coming off? That dust is what you use to light the ember.
Oh, I see the
You
little
want to feel?
smoke.
A little bit of smoke. So that
There you go.
collects in the notch and turns
Yeah,
to
let's see that.
the coal.
There's a bug.
That's the gold stuff. That's the good stuff.
Is what? Wait.
Can I try that?
So you're carving in a notch?
So then, if you don't carve a notch, that dust just builds all around the edge. But if you carve the notch, it focuses the heat right in one spot. Has to get to more than 600 degrees Fahrenheit to light.
What happened to 451?
Yeah. No, that's the
That's
temperature
just for
books
books.
burn. Yeah.
Just for books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that what a book is? No? Is it?
This is free
600?
book.
Okay.
So I spent time with the Naro Bushmen in Africa, and they use the hand drill to light fires. But nowadays, when you see people doing this on TV or
I
YouTube
can
or
see
whatever,
it smoking already.
it's just one person looking tough. But they never did that. As everybody would team up, like community, helping each other.
Oh.
And so, if anyone else wants to get their gloves off, if we take turns, it'll heat up more easily. So. Usually they would just be in a circle and people would all take turns, and you can actually get blisters on your hands if you do it.
Try to do
for
it
too
yourself.
long.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can
Interesting.
I try this thing?
Which one?
I don't know.
Which one?
Oh, there's
Yeah,
one
let
there.
Allie try.
What do I do?
Then you
You go.
angle it and
Just hands together and kind of like warming up your hands. You know, you rub them together, but push down as you do it. There you go.
Stay up a little
Yep.
high.
I don't really know.
Yeah, your hands will naturally move down because you're pushing down.
I
And then when you
see.
get to the bottom, you'll just climb back up.
This method warms you twice.
Yeah.
There you go. All of these, like just this hand drill, it takes so much technique to be successful with it. How you carve the notch, the kind of wood. If you don't have the right kind of wood, it won't work. If your kit gets too wet, it won't work. There's so many things, and then your technique of how you move your body.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay,
What kind of wood is that?
So this is cedar, and that's a plant called seep willow, Salix bacris, actually, Bacris salicifolia.
So what do you do if you're not in that neck of the woods to find one of those?
Find those, yeah. You
SOL?
You
around
carry
here-
it with you, perhaps, is one, but
you hopefully carry it with you, just like we do nowadays, except it's natural materials. But around here, there's elderberry, and there's also false hellebore stalks and mullein. And in some places, there's willow growing down in the wet areas.
Is it better to go, I guess, slow?
The best thing is use the full
Strong.
length of your hand. If anyone else wants to hold it down, I'll show you one pass. You could just hold it down a second. Just push firmly enough it can't wiggle, and then so if you put your fingertip to your palm, look how many more rotations you get.
Oh, yeah.
If you just do a little, it's only going maybe a half rotation. So if you do a full rotation,
Wanna try it again? Mandy,
and if you push down nice and
It's on
hard,
the side of it, but I
it
don't know if
starts to
it's
smoke.
wet.
Oh, look.
that's
And if you light your wood stove every winter using this method, you'll learn this magical technique called floating hands, where you don't have to.
Coming back up.
Yeah, you can come back up.
look at this guy.
Yeah. So then powder starts to form there. So go ahead and give it another try.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to float my hands.
Yeah, I did that for 2 months or so every day, lighting the wood stove, before all of a sudden it started happening. And I said, wow, that's that thing I've always heard about.
Yeah, it takes a minute.
Feels like it's warmed up pretty nicely.
Look at that.
So hold that board so it doesn't jump, and then it'll let that ember form in the mouth. All right.
You do a race with the kids in your class, and each kid gets a match. And then they have to race him to start a fire. Oh,
So,
look at that.
So we have a little ember, so
This is the golden moment.
let's all team up.
And blow.
Yeah, so all that powder is like food for that little coal and helps it to grow bigger.
You blow on it?
And you don't blow it yet.
Oh, no.
So right now, some people kind of rush, but you actually have about 5 minutes before it would go out.
Okay.
So once it's in the cattail, we're set. And
It's tucked in.
it's not going to
baking.
just go out.
Use your shovel.
Okay.
And so having the technique to get the coal is part of it, but having good tinder is the other part. So if you practice this, you should start drying out pine needles now so that you have a little tinder bundle. And it looks kind of like a bird's nest, right? So it has really fluffy in the
firebird.
middle, pine needles on the outside. And
Oh.
So they had to have different skills.
yeah, let's take turns maybe, give it some air. Do you hear that sound?
Wow.
There's this perfect amount of force. Like, you don't want to quite be birthday candles, but If it's too light, it won't work either, and you hear this roaring sound. So a little harder. Yeah. Yeah, see the smoke starts to go up. Wow, yeah, you got fire breath. All right, anyone want a last chance? Put some air on it.
That is an accomplishment. That is art and technology.
Wow.
The perfect wedding
Take a picture.
of ancient technology. And art. This is a perfect poetic allegory for carrying your heart into conflict or tough situations, perhaps, or you know, not quite so hospitable situations, perhaps.
Oh my goodness. Here we go. Watch out.
Yeah. Oh, the breeze picked up just in time for...
Wow. Okay, don't burn yourself.
There you go. So now we don't have it yet. We need to make sure we get.
Yeah, anybody with plastic
your-
clothing,
Get your twigs.
back off.
So everyone who has got twigs, get those out. We need to carefully add these in so that so they can light. That's okay. I'll fix it.
Oh yeah, watch your pants there, sir. Yeah, there.
So the wind's going that
It
way.
might-
So add from this side.
There you go.
There you go.
Where should I put this one? Here?
Probably on the anywhere that the flames are going.
Yeah, guys, everybody pat yourselves on the back
Yes.
right now. All right?
I think Robin,
You guys just did such a good job.
I loved that we got the comparison of the ancient and modern, the ferro rod and the.
Yeah, I think that the ferro rod thing was a setup, right? To contrast to this.
I didn't think it through like that, but it does look like it, doesn't it? Yeah, great. So
So now we survive when we need this the most. Has anybody read To Build a Fire by Jack London?
Yes.
yes.
And that's another perfect allegory, right?
Yeah. And he was only a mile from,
Yep.
but he couldn't feel.
It
his fingers or
said
toes.
that it was 40 below zero. It was so cold that when he spat, it froze before it hit the ground.
Yeah.
And he got his feet wet. He was fine until he got his feet wet. Then he was suddenly not fine.
Yeah, and he was like, you know, it's not just a matter of me losing my toes now.
Yes.
He was willing to lose all of his
Yeah.
toes.
And he had a dog who was perfectly adapted to that environment.
Yeah.
Who was just looking at him like,
What's wrong with you?
yeah,
Yeah. He had no Gore-Tex.
right. All right, Robin, thank you so
But
much,
you know
man.
What he had was hubris.
Welcome.
Big round of applause for Robin.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, that's
And-
nice.
People who lived here before had fires burning 24/7,
Yeah.
7 days a week
Yeah.
in their wiki-ups, right? They had multiple fires burning
Yeah.
all the time.
All the
Summer, winter, all the time. So in order to fuel those fires, they need a lot of wood from the forest. So they were out actively clearing out the understory of these forests.
Yeah.
You know, and managed, which in turn just managed them,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, like the Forest Service, that would be doing them a favor at this time, right?
Yeah.
But the Forest Service, you know, since its inception, had this idea that, oh, we can defeat fire. You know, we can control fire. We can control what the forest does. And, you know, they're slowly walking back that kind of hubris.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have regular fire every 20 years or so to come through and eliminate some of that friable understory, you got a problem. It's going to build up over the course of hundreds of years, and then you're going to have explosive fires, the kind that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind that we are all too aware of in our time, you know.
So, I don't know why they like people.
I know how that's old. That was so funny last night, Doggy. You were like quiet. We're all. I saw the health insurance. Are they?
And then
all
mine
the
and yours are the same, but Clara's has extra onions. She requested.
Okay. So.
But ours are the same, so it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Okay, here, Claire Jane. So is it cold?
I want a big dog. Can you hand me those poles? Oh, are you gonna picture too?
So you're talking about the Wim Hof method, right?
The Wim Hof method.
Yeah, yeah.
The Wim Hof method, where you're using your breath to regulate your body temperature and to really slow your metabolism down, slow everything down.
Yeah. That's
So there's
rad.
many ways of doing it. Really, that the cold water therapy really really works.
So you've done some of that, some of those ice plunges?
Oh yeah,
And stuff?
We've definitely done ice plunges. We've done one thing we did in my yoga teacher training is that we got up early in the morning and we drove out to Ocean Beach.
Oh yeah.
Went into
Ooh.
the water about 5 in the morning. It's still dark. It's cold and windy.
Dude, no kidding.
You gotta sit out. You gotta sit in that water for about 5 minutes
Wow, man.
and then come out and air dry. The wind's hitting you.
Dude, you don't even have a sauna or a hot tub to warm up in?
But once you're dry and you are controlling your breath because you're not shivering.
Yeah, yeah,
Then you put on your clothes
yeah.
and you
Man,
try to keep regulating it.
And you know, it's mind over matter, right? It's all
mind.
about, I think it's all about, you know, showing, it's your mind like has to tell your body who's boss.
Yeah.
You know, how the body is actually an extension of the brain.
Yeah.
Or
And,
something.
you know, you really got to use that breath. You really got to use those breathing methods and patterns so you can control your mind. Because your mind is going to be, that monkey mind is going to be going crazy. Going crazy. And so
Get me out of here.
Yeah, what are you doing? Are you crazy? What's happening with this, right? And so you really got to use that breath, really slowing that breath down. And when you slow that breath down, the monkey mind is going to kind of chill out a little bit.
Right.
And now you can think. Now you can.
Totally, man.
So it makes sense.
And it's like, right, like everybody has this vestige of like the caveman mind, where it's like we're in the caveman, like we got this like little, I have this little like lizard part of my brain that's like squirting the fear juices, that's telling me like run quick, you know, there's monsters outside the cave,
Right.
you know, and you got to be able to control that.
Yeah.
That's what, like, you know, that's what reason is for, and that's what logic is for, is like, you know, and sort of overriding, you know, you sort of override that. And I was even, you know, with my kid, we go out hiking, sometimes we come back in the dark, we watch the sunset, it gets dark on us, you know, and he's like well aware that there's lions out here in the woods. There's mountain lions here, you know, they exist, they live here, you know, but the way that we change our self-talk when it's dark in the woods, you know, we change the, like,
you start seeing things that's not there.
Yeah, you start seeing things that's not there.
Yeah.
And you also like can, you know, you can use reason to be like, okay, lions are very opportunistic predators. They're not going to take on something. They don't want to tangle with something like us.
Right.
You know, they don't want to tangle with something like not only just me, but I'm like, to my son who's 8, I'm like, you're adding to our just girth of humanness when we're together.
Yeah.
You know, we're just a much bigger creature to them. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
And they don't want to tangle with that. They don't want to tangle with that. The chances of something like that happening are slim to none.
Yeah.
And anyway, we just change our self-talk and try to train that lizard brain part of our brains. You know, it's still scary, it's still dark, you know, but we have headlamps. We know where we're going. We're not lost.
That's the big thing, is knowing where you're going.
Yeah.
I have one mind over matter.
Jump into cold water too. So we're talking about cold water,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're talking about overriding the you know,
The mind that says, get me the fuck
overriding
out
the
of here."
brain that says, get me the F out of here.
Yeah.
You know? So how do you do that? Like what's your technique? I mean, you're talking about the breathing, but what, like when you're see, I'm a story man. I'm like a storyteller. So like, what's the words that you say to yourself?
This too shall pass.
Ooh, there you go. Yes.
Right? That this is just a temporary state. And so think about embracing all states. All, and this is just a state of coldness.
Sensation.
Right?
It's
Yeah, it's just a sensation.
Ah.
So just embrace that sensation.
That's what the Buddha taught.
Right.
And really
Notice sensation without judgment.
really,
Okay, good. Right. Yeah, there you go.
just
That's
go-
like a meditative state.
yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
You're exploring. You are exploring your mind and your body, right? Just you're not really testing. Maybe you are testing the limits, but you really want to see where your mind can go at these moments, right? It's really interesting to track where your mind goes at
And then you
at those
adapt too.
moments.
Like,
Yeah.
You start to adapt. It doesn't hurt after the first.
Right. In the dark, you know, hiking in the dark too is another thing, because the dark is another layer. It's just like an outside layer, where like that's where the like subconscious resides. It's something that
Ooh, yeah.
whatever's lurking there is just unknown, and that's what it is, you know.
Yeah.
It is okay, so it's a monster, let's say, but it's just what it is unknown with a capital U, you know. So let's call it a monster, or let's call it a dragon, but let's sort of just take things as they come and be with the monster, and then it will stop. Like that's sort of the Nietzschean parable.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's surrendering.
Yeah.
Surrendering.
Oh man, yeah, dude.
You know, when you're out there in the dark, if you just let go, your other senses kick in. Your other senses kick in. We rely so much on our eyes and things like that.
Oh, right. The senses, the things that you can sense that aren't like part of the 5, not necessarily just part of the like normal senses that you're using, that you're used to using.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Right.
Oh yeah. You know?
Right. The wolves.
We live in this
The
world,
bears.
where we have conquered so much of nature.
That's right.
But now we have even more fear.
Right. Yeah.
Fear of
Interesting.
each other.
Yeah. Like how did that? Right. How did that help us cope? You know. And so it's like now there's fears of our own invention. I mean, there's dangers of our own invention, and we're like, okay, this is like a new landscape. Like here we go.
But you know, that's part of it. That's what I'm saying. Surrender to that unknown and not putting any judgment on it.
Right,
Like
right.
not putting any, because we don't know. We really
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
right, exactly.
We don't know, and so that's where the mind comes in
Yeah.
and starts to make up a story about something we
Yes.
don't know.
Story, you said it, man. You said the magic word, because we tell stories to ourselves whether we think we're doing it or not.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the key word, because I think if we forget the old stories, we will start to tell ourselves new stories, because it's just it's like a function of the mind that just keeps going. It will just keep, that part of the mind will just keep working. Fact or fiction, you know, I used to say that the reason I love fiction so much and storytelling is because it's a better way of telling the truth. It's actually just an allegory for the truth.
Yeah.
Man, you guys have been busy. Snow pig. I've never even seen a snow pig before.
Take a sit on one of you guys' chairs?
All right, everybody, how's everybody feeling back there? Good? So let's do a little wrap up. Like, what's like a word of, like one word of gratitude, or one word of like a highlight for you? Just shout it out. Like,
No.
snow, fire,
Hiking.
Blackbird.
Beauty.
blackbirds.
Lichen. Moss. Breath.
Yeah, I heard you singing Amazing Grace, man. That's my word, Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace, right?
Yeah.
I love how he said unspeakable gratitude.
Unspeakable gratitude.
Unspeakable beauty.
Yeah. Wait, did he say unspeakable or speakable?
He said unspeakable.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like the no English word could do justice
Yeah, totally.
to the gratitude for water.
Awesome. Well, good work, everybody.
Thank you for taking us on this adventure.
Yeah. Well, it was such a pleasure. So. Nice to meet you, man.
You too, bro.
That was so good, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you.